Dark Ocean by Patrick Carpenter. Part 1. Advent. Chapter 1. There had always been something about Addie that seemed off. It wasn't a feeling for which any particular word seemed to fit, yet she had felt this nascent, festering anxiousness many times in her life, right before her mind became riddled with the sort of virulent thoughts flooding into her mind on this particular morning. That smell, a familiar, swanky cologne, that swagger. A man, no, two men, had just bumped past her. Where were they? Scanning the bustling marketplace, it took her no time to find them. Both men wore light gray suits, expensive-looking and tailored perfectly to their tall and slender bodies. One had loose, shoulder-length hair, and the other was shaved high and tight with a small fade on top and strands of hair spiked in the front. A gold watch shimmered just beneath the cufflinks of the one with long hair. Both wore expensive sunglasses, and their shiny wing-tip shoes glimmered in the sun. Addie? Her brother's voice was a faraway sound. Who were those guys? Again she heard her brother, closer now. Addie! The two men turned and disappeared into an alley beside a food truck. When her brother's hand touched her shoulder, Addie jumped and snapped out of her trance. What are you doing? Her brother Alex asked. She spun round. Nothing. I thought I heard someone calling my name. Not sure why she lied. She deflected. Where is Rami? Up ahead, getting our place in line. If we don't hurry up, we're going to get crappy seats. Okay, right, sorry. Who did you think was calling you? No idea. Maybe someone from school. It was a weird moment. As they hip and shoulder checked their way through the crowd to the stadium, Alex did not prod further. Alex was either dense or indifferent with these things. He'd always been more of a surface-level guy, which Addie appreciated because it allowed her to confront her tribulations only when she was ready. Whatever this was, this undefined yet passionate hate, she was not ready to describe. They made it through the crowd and found their way inside. Rami was nowhere to be seen and must have already entered the stadium. A pair of employees stopped them and asked for their tickets, and Alex pulled out his cell phone and flashed a barcode at them. Scanning the code, the men allowed them to pass. I feel like I can breathe again, Addie said as she and Alex went into the lobby area and got away from the mobs outside. There were scalpers everywhere. The stadium always sold out, but people found ways to get in anyway. Often, the management would sell your seat if you arrived late and refuse to refund your money, profiting double. As one might imagine, the gates were always flooded with people hoping to steal the scraps. Addie had even seen flash mobs pop up and block legitimate ticket owners from getting in so the scalpers could buy their seats. Luckily for Addie, Alex was not to be trifled with. Standing at 6'1" and weighing about 230 pounds, Alex's broad-shouldered, buff, and intimidating frame kept most at bay. That and his dark, piercing blue eyes could penetrate stone. No one was trying to block him. Stupid clowns, Alex said, rolling his eyes. When they got inside, Rami and another of their mutual friends, Jocelyn, were already there, holding a group of seats for them. Yo, Alex! Addie! Rami yelled, standing on his seat. Hurry up! Sorry, Addie apologized. We got caught in the mob. That's why we were not going to split up, Jocelyn said. It's fine, girl. Don't worry, Rami said, as Alex and Addie took their seats. Alex motioned at Rami. Give me that. A silver flask passed quickly between them, and Alex took a big swig of burning whiskey. Barely flinching, he exclaimed, Whew. Helping herself to the flask, Addie kicked it back and grimaced. What is that? Tastes like burning gasoline. The others just laughed and offered no rebuttal. A couple swigs later, Alex turned around to pass the flask to Jocelyn and inadvertently elbowed a guy in the side of the face. Addie laughed at Alex's clumsy faux pas. She laughed even harder when the fine gentleman gave a reflexive, What the? And miraculously calmed himself once he turned and saw Alex's huge body. Suddenly the music quieted, and the announcer addressed the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, native Calivians and those from afar, welcome to Oryx Stadium. Cheers and applause blew up the stadium. Today's event is quite special. Our very own Calivian Nighthawks are facing their greatest rivals, all the way from the Saurian Republic capital city, the Sonics. The announcer paused, allowing the fans to welcome the away team. Without further ado, please welcome our very own Calivian Nighthawks. The fans erupted as the arena gates opened on one side and the home team came flying out, skating through the sky at 30 miles per hour on their hover skates and completing a glorious arc around the arena before stopping in perfect formation on the ground. Soon the away team followed suit, and the players arranged themselves in formation to begin the game. Addie had always loved the game of airblading. Ever since she was a child and she had first seen it on television, Addie had been enchanted by the game. She loved the grace, the speed, the dexterity of the players. The pure precision required to shoot a ball into a triangular holographic goal at speeds of up to 40 miles per hour was incredible to her. Even more, though, the sport of airblading was a great equalizer. No man or woman, no one short or tall, big or small, or whatever else, had any inherent advantage if they couldn't operate the wave suit. Addie respected airbladers so much because of that. The players lined up for the blitz, the lightning-fast tee-off that would signal the start of the match. 3 players from each side lined up on their respective sides of the arena, with one hand touching the wall and prepared for a mad dash toward the center of the arena, where the ball would rocket into play from below. "Here they go!" Rami exclaimed. With one sound of the buzzer, 6 players blasted off the walls. Fans went wild as the 6 converged on the center, boost jumping into the air after the errant ball. They wove an intricate pattern as they crisscrossed in midair, and the fans ate it up. The Nighthawks drew first blood as their midfielder arched his body and drove a 35-mile-per-hour shoulder into the chest of the opposing Sonic player, driving her off course from the ball. This allowed Adrian Sky, the Nighthawks' star forward, to secure the ball and land safely in the center of the arena. Damn, it's a good thing that those suits are made to resist impact, Addie thought. Addie and many others screamed as Adrian Sky began dipping and dodging, skating through the Sonics' defense. Meanwhile, the mid-laners from the Blitz careened through the air. The Sonic player tried to shake the Nighthawk, but he thrust his skates again, driving his body into hers until both slammed unceremoniously into the transparent energy dome between the play area and the audience. The collision happened right in front of Addie and her group, illuminating the dome at the point of contact and making a very loud, hollow smashing sound. "Oh yeah, killer!" Alex yelled. He stood up to cheer, and Addie realized she'd instinctively grabbed his arm after the clash had startled her. How embarrassing, she thought. She'd been at so many of these and had never been so jumpy. Why did she feel so anxious today? She thought for a moment about the men she'd seen outside. Adrian Sky dove between 2 Sonics and hit his boost jump to vault over a third. Then he arched his back, wound up his right arm, and launched a high-speed shot straight into the corner of the Sonic's goal. An uproar began as the buzzer sounded, and the announcer shouted, "Goal! Adrian Sky does it again. That's 1 for the home team." Addie found herself shoved and elbowed repeatedly by the rowdy fans. She turned to one especially annoying bro and scowled, "What's your problem, man?" He may not have heard her over the commotion, but more likely his scrawny ass was ignoring her. She reiterated, "Hey, jack off!" She smacked his arm, which got him looking her way. "Hands to yourself!" "Oh, sorry." The idiot went back about his business and seconds later accidentally shoulder-checked her as he moved side to side. It was enough for her to stumble into Alex. He looked at her with concern, but she said nothing and they both went back to watching the game. After all, this kind of thing happened all the time and was sort of part of it. Still, inside she was seething. The players lined up again for the blitz. As the buzzer sounded and the announcer yelled, "Blitz!" the guy rammed her again and started screaming incessantly, way too close to her. Too bad for metal detectors, she thought. If I had a knife, this jackoff would be bleeding out of his kidney. Actually, a throat spray would be more satisfying. As she pictured it, Addie's rage multiplied. A moment later, Rami tapped Addie's shoulder, and that was it. Her personal space had been violated enough, and she couldn't stand people touching her shoulder. Addie clenched her fist and without a thought clocked the guy next to her, right in the jaw. That jerk-off never saw it coming and stumbled right onto his ass, taking 2 friends down with him. Addie considered going for blood, just getting on top of him and smashing his face until it was inside out, and if his buddies wanted some, she'd be happy to share. However, security was already on their way. By now, Alex had noticed his sister's altercation and tried to intervene. Grabbing Addie's shoulder, he asked, "What happened?" "Bitch," the jerk grumbled, hustling to his feet and stepping up to Addie, staring at her face to face and puffing out his chest. Behind him, his 2 friends were torn between laughing at him and backing away from Addie. "Hey," Alex interjected, inserting himself into the fray. "You got a problem?" Alex's usual deterrent effect began to take place as the guy became visibly conflicted about his current situation. Instead of hitting her back, which Addie could tell he wanted to do, the guy settled on an insult. "Right. Stir up crap and then let your boyfriend come to the rescue." Now her rage was fuzzy and unquenchable. Her knee connected with his groin, and her fist followed, furiously beating on the back of his head until the cocky fool fell again. His two buddies were smart enough to stay back as two big security guards collapsed on the scene, pushing Alex aside and grabbing onto Addie's arms. "He started it!" Rami tried to defend her. "Screw you! Get off me!" Addie screamed, squirming to get free. "You are out of here," the guard said. "I know! I'll freaking go! Let go of me now!" The security guards complied with her request, but only after jerking her around and shoving her into the aisle, where they followed her to the exit. Rami argued, "Come on, that's garbage! He started it! I saw!" "Just enjoy the game," Addie told her friends, submitting to her dismissal. As she exited the stands, the home team scored again and the crowd went wild. What a waste of a perfectly exciting game.